time to go racing for one final time in the season opener of the GB4 Championship. Welcome everyone to Oulton Park. I'm your host, Chris McCarthy. It's a pleasure to have your company. Lewis McGlade is going to be up in the commentary box for us once again. He's going to be joined by Piers, who is going to be alongside me for this pre-race show where we are going to be building up to all the action for you. This is going to be our reverse grid race as well. So far we've had a dry race on Saturday, we've had a wet race a little bit earlier today, and as you can see around us, we're going to have a bit of both today in race 3. We're expecting a drying track. Slicks are on those British GT cars out there on circuit so far, so we should be seeing slicks on the GB4 cars, but a bit of tricky conditions. 2 different race winners, 2 brand new winners in the GB4 Championship so far this weekend. Let's reflect on what happened earlier. We had Alicia Palmowski win on Saturday. Earlier on Monday we had a brand new winner as well in Brandon McGlade. Let's find out how he won race 2 of the 2024 season.
Second race in the GB4 Championship, partnered by the BRDC, started with a big issue, unfortunately, for Alicia Palmowski. After a victory on Saturday's race, she would stall on the race start and drop to the back end of the top 10. It was an excellent conversion, though, by McGlade from the race lead. Harry Burgoyne Jr., though, was having to deal with the charge of Finn Harrison down to the first corner, was unable to work his way past. Meanwhile, a bit further down the order, there was plenty of drama. Unfortunately, a bit of a spin from Jack Taylor, who would drop back right over the nose of Megan Bruce and would drop down the order, unfortunately. Meanwhile, the battle for second position was absolutely on. Harry Burgoyne Jr. defending from Finn Harrison. It was a mistake from Burgoyne Jr. going into the second corner of the racetrack that would cost him second position. Finn Harrison working his way past and taking over that spot whilst he was setting fastest lap. Pebble first, Pebble second sector. He would have this incident and was fuming with himself. It would cause a red flag, and unfortunately Finn Harrison would drop right the way down the order. Dan Hickey involved in a really important fight here with Dia Noreen towards the back end of the top 10. Dia Noreen would go for a bit of a spin right in front of the race circuit as Marcus Luzio would fight his way past. Big slide coming in from McGlade, as we saw so many times throughout the race, as he absolutely dominated proceedings. Harry Burgoyne Jr. in second spot, and Brandon Templeton also taking his first podium of the season with a 3rd place finish for the Fox Motorsport team.
And that is how Brandon McGlade won race 2 earlier. Our GB4 shootout winner, Piers Pryor, now alongside me. Piers, just like we saw Alicia doing, new to the championship, Brandon McGlade taking advantage of winning the GB4 shootout, getting himself straight onto the top step of the podium in very tough conditions as well. How impressed were you with his performance?
That was a great drive, especially in the wet conditions as well. He really showed great car control. We know. Brandon McGlade, of course, has got a lot of experience in Formula Fords, 1600s, which are single-seaters, but very different to the GB4 car. They are very narrow tyres. Normally he says treaded tyres as well, and those cars move around a lot, so with the manual gearbox as well, so he's used to a car moving around underneath him. In the wet conditions, we saw him doing exactly that with some lovely slow-mos. If you haven't caught that on the live broadcast, you can go back and watch race number 2, and he was completely in control, drove away from the field, managed this race well, and took his first win in the series, which he was absolutely over the moon with.
Harry Burgoyne Jr. very, very happy to be on the podium once again. 2 podiums now for him this weekend, but I think one of the standout performances definitely was Brandon Templeton, gaining 5 places on his way to finishing in 3rd place. Fantastic start to the season for him as well, particularly big points on the board in that second race.
Yeah, Brandon will be very, very happy with that. Of course, he's racing for the Fox Motorsport team, and it's good to see them back again this year. It was their first season in GB4 last year, and he did kind of like what Mackenzie Cresswell did in race 2 in GB3, just stayed out of trouble. There was issues for Finn Harrison among other people, and he just kept his nose clean and ended up on the podium. So yeah, great result for him, and he'll be looking to build on that with throughout the rest of the season with more podiums.
Well, we mentioned there about Brandon McGlade doing an absolutely great job to get himself onto the top step. Let's go and hear from him now.
For those who don't know you, tell us about your racing career so far. What's led you to this point in GB4?
Yeah, so I've had a very different route than most other people here. I never did any go-karting, so I started in rally sprints in a 1.2 litre Corsa. Won a couple of championships in it, and then moved on to junior Irish rallycross in a Ford Fiesta. Got spotted at it by a man with a classic Formula Ford. Done 1 test day, and then me and my dad together built our own Formula Ford, a 97 Mygale. So built it from the ground up, like it was literally just a bare chassis. Full works. Done one day in it, and then got an offer to drive Hugh Reid's 1989 Mondial Formula Ford. So came second in the Northern Irish Classic Championship, and then came to the Formula Ford Festival, where I won the pre-90 class at the festival, and then won the Janet Caesar Trophy at the Walter Hayes Trophy meeting at Silverstone. So then this year, then the end of last year, obviously, got invited to come and take part in the GB4 shootout. Great day. It was great getting to drive one of the Slicks and Wings cars, because again, the only experience I'd had before was the GB4 shootout last year. So great experience, great learning, great fun car to drive. Really enjoyed it, like compared to what I was used to. So yeah, had a good day and ended up being chosen as the winner of that shootout. So I'm taking that momentum and hoping to challenge up the grid this year in GB4.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Tell us just briefly a little bit about the GB4 scholarship.
Yeah, end of last year at Formula Ford, didn't know what I was doing, hoping to do GB4, but obviously budget is a big issue, so went along and got chosen for the shootout prize, and then that's really been the difference in getting me on the grid. Without it, I wouldn't be sitting here, like, so very thankful for that, and yeah, hopefully put it to good use. It's been able to get me started in the championship, so I'll be competing at Oulton Park in Silverstone and then see where that takes us.
Amazing. What's your proudest moment in your career so far?
Proudest moment would probably be the Janet Caesar Trophy in 2021. So it was my first time coming out. It was complete culture shock. Like, never been to England racing before. I'd only been to England like twice ever before. So complete shock to the system, and yeah, had a real tight race. There's some really experienced drivers as against, and I was 17 at this time, so to end up on the second to last lap, it was 4 wide in the Brooklands, and managed to come out in front and win that, so that was definitely the proudest moment so far.
What do you think your greatest strength and biggest weakness as a driver is that you'll work on, maybe this year?
Oh, okay, so I'd say greatest strength is car control, probably from the rallying background, definitely. I enjoy the wet, I really like the wet conditions. Greatest weakness is probably along the same lines. Trying to drive a single seater like a rally car doesn't work too well, so just compared to Formula 4, just try and refine my driving style a lot, be a lot smoother.
What do you think your biggest challenge for the season will be this year?
Getting up to speed quick. Obviously, I'm not taking part in any pre-season tests. My first time in the car will be Thursday at Oulton Park, so try to get on the mark quick.
Brilliant. What are your hopes for the season? What can you achieve?
Hopefully win. Obviously, that's everyone's goal, so give it as much as I can to get there.
And I suppose the next question kind of probably rolls on from that previous one. What would a good year look like to you?
Good year would look like winning the championship and using that momentum to carry on to GB3.
Amazing.
Good to hear from Brandon McGlade there on me today. It was great to chat with him earlier as well. Great to hear about the relationship he had with his dad as well. I know he's had to work very, very hard to get to this point. He's had to take advantage of the shootout, and he really is doing that now, isn't he? 2 podiums and already a win under his back.
Oh God, it's great to see a driver come over and do the shootout, enter it. He entered it in 2023, didn't get it that year. Entered again for the 2024 shootout, won it, which is a £20,000 scholarship effectively for this championship, which has allowed him to be on the grid, and there he is straight at the front of the grid, taking podiums and race wins off the bat. And I'm sure that these great results will help him continue the season if he can at all, and it'll be great to see him back, because clearly a talent.
Another driver off to a good start this weekend is Linus Granfors, a 7th and a 4th for him so far. He's going to be 9th on the grid in this reverse grid race. Let's hear what he had to say after race 2 earlier.
We're at the Fortec awning now. We've got Linus Granfors. Linus, great to see you on the grid. I recognise your surname. Is it your brother that was in GB3 a couple of seasons ago?
Yeah, he was driving Formula 4 and then GB3, so yeah.
And he was very, very quick, of course, taking it right to the final round, battling out with Luke Browning. But it's enough about your brother. He was quick. Does the speed run in the genes? Are you hoping to emulate what your brother did?
Yeah, like we of course, I've been driving in Sweden, and then was like kind of obvious that we're going to England, and especially with Fortake, because my brother has driven here for 2 years. So yeah.
And that's a good point I was about to get onto. Of course, your brother raced in GB3 for Fortec Motorsport. You're in GB4 with Fortec, of course, you're Joel's younger brother. Just talk to us about how, how did this come about? Why GB4? And of course, we touched on that a moment ago, why Fortec?
Yeah, like we were thinking about Formula 4, but then was like, yeah, I think GB4 is a better step. And then we had a contact with the Fortec, so we were talking to them, and then it was kind of late to join, so we only had one test day before this. So yeah.
Only one test day. That's not a huge amount of preparation, but you've shown good pace, and of course you have experience out in Sweden as well. But just talk to us about how the season's gone for you so far.
Yeah, it's a bit. I've been struggling a bit because I haven't driven the car so much. So especially with the test starts, I think I only did one test start before the race. So yeah. But it's a lot of new things to think about, but I think that we're doing better all the time.
Of course, and that's the whole point of GB4, is to learn a lot, build as you go along. But looking ahead to the rest of the season, we're here at Oulton Park at the moment. There's still a lot of races left in the season, 21 in total, so what's that, 19 remain. What are your hopes for the season? What do you want to get out of this year?
Yeah, of course we look for get a good result in the championship. And we also shown some good speed at Silverstone, which next week. So yeah, I hope we can do a better weekend in the Silverstone.
And then, are you planning to kind of emulate your brother and go into GB3 in the future?
Yeah, that's the plan, I think. So first do this and then go to GB3. I think that's the plan.
Well, Linus, thank you very much for taking some time to chat to us. Great to see you out with Fortec once again. Of course, there's a family connection there, and we'll see how you get on as the season progresses.
Yeah, thank you.
Good to hear from Linus there earlier. A great story, isn't it, with his brother racing in GB3 a couple of years ago, now Linus in GB4.
Yeah, clearly a very fast family, haven't they? They don't know what they feed him out there, but they have got very fast drivers. Of course, Linus getting 4th place in that previous race, and he's trying to follow in his brother's footsteps. And we already mentioned in that interview just then, he wants to make the step into GB3. It's great to also to see them returning to the same team as well. They had a great relationship with Joel and in Fortec Motorsport, and now Linus in there as well. And who knows, maybe they'll be racing against each other in the future.
You mentioned he was 4th place. He's going to be starting 9th place in this reverse grid race. Starting on pole position in this reverse grid race is going to be Dan Hickey. He's had a 13th and a 6th, and alongside him is going to be Marcus Luzio, who's had a 12th and an 8th. We're going to end our pre-race show by hearing from Marcus, and then we're going to have a quick track guide with our Lewis McGlade.
We're down here at the Luzio tent, which is effectively a privateer entry for Marcus Luzio. Marcus, great to have you in the championship. A privateer entry, so that I believe is a family member of yours working on the car down there, and you've got some friends helping out. But just tell us about how this all came together.
Yeah, so after the I'm a Euro Series event in Zuero, we decided that we wanted to make the move up to cars. So we bought the car in GB4, and we didn't know who we were going to go with, and then we decided, you know what, it's a lot cheaper if we go by ourselves and we can enjoy it a lot more. So thanks to the guys at Pit Lane Development, we got a team together, and as well as my dad working on the car. So yeah, no, it's really good to be here, and the whole event's amazing so far. So yeah.
You clearly trust Dad on the Spanish. He's doing a good job in the background, I can see. And you've been out for the first couple of races. Talk to us what it's like to be in the GB4 Championship so far, and what your hopes for the season are. It's not often we see at this level of motorsport effectively a privateer entry.
Yeah, no, the first day was interesting. So at least came on to Thursday and hadn't done a single lap in the car. Hadn't even turned it on since we bought it. So that was interesting. And Friday was pretty good as well. Getting closer and closer to the front every session pretty much. And qualifying was pretty decent, not to be last in fairness. So that was really good. And then 2 races have been pretty decent. The starts have been a bit not great, but overall the whole race pace has been there. Well, quite good considering we're a privateer entry and I've only had 2 days in the car. So yeah.
But you mentioned a moment ago about you made a decision at Zuero. Zuero is a very famous karting circuit. You have a very, very successful karting career. Just give the viewers at home who maybe don't know who you are, a bit of a summary of your karting career, because you've done a lot of racing all over at the highest level.
Yeah, no, I started in 2017, Honda Cadet when I was 10. Then I wasn't so good in the cadets. You know, we were a privateer like we are now, and you know, didn't have the biggest equipment, so I was okay in that. And then we made the move up to junior in 2019, and I got third in the IME Euro Series in my first year. And the person who won it was Ollie Behrman, who's you know, Britain's latest F1 star. So yeah, no, that's pretty decent. And 2020 was pretty lackluster. 2021, I finished 4th in the World Champs, which is very good. Oh no, 2020 I did compete in the couple of the FIA rounds and did pretty decent. I've made the final both times, so yeah, no, that was really good. And then 2022 I won the Winter Cup in Valencia in Miami again. And 2023 I laid off a little bit for GCSEs because obviously you need something to fall back on if racing doesn't work out. And so far this year I was at the front in Valencia, the Winter Cup again, was leading the final for most of it, and then the chain snapped, so unfortunately didn't win that one. And then we fought back in Zuera and won pretty much most of the races, so yeah, no, that was interesting. I'm now leading the Euro Series, so we're going to continue doing that this year as well as GB4.
Oh wow, didn't realise it was.
Well, that's Marcus Luzio. This is the assembly, and this is the cars going out. Reverse grid this time, so you can see the likes of Brandon McGlade there in the 89. He's going to be going off the back of the grid. Unfortunately, problems for the 38 car, who has struggled to get going here in the assembly area. This is Finn Harrison. It's been a real disaster weekend. Of course, Finn was the car that brought out the red flags, and because Finn brought out the red flags, he was DNF'd from the race. He had a DNF in race 1, was set to challenge for the race win in race 2, had gone fastest lap, and then unfortunately, whilst running in second, looking to potentially challenge for the race win in race 2, went off coming through Druid's corner. Let's hope Finn Harrison can get going. Yes, he does! And gets going off in some style. And with that, we will go up to our commentary team of Lewis McGlade and Piers Pryor for the final time this weekend here at Oulton Park.
Final race of Easter weekend. Oulton Park opens out the season as it always should. Silverstone Grand Prix will follow up in a few weeks' time before we head to Donington Park for a GB4 only affair with British GT, of course. Then we head to the Snetterton circuit whilst GB3 is racing over in Europe. Silverstone is our next stop after that before the rounds of Donington Park and Brands Hatch to round out what will be an epic season. It has started out in incredible fashion, of course, with victories for Brandon McGlade and for Alicia Palmovsky, who is going to win the third race of the weekend. Of course, it is the all-important reverse grid, a full reverse here in the GB4 Championship, partnered by the BRDC, and so fitting it is to have it at Oulton Park. Opened back in 1953, there's so many overtaking opportunities around here in these cars. The likes of Oulton, the likes of Cascade, Shell Oils as well, the run through the Hislop chicane, Druid's Corner and Lodge, all overtaking opportunities. However, on a day like this, when the circuit is narrow, it is made even more narrow by the tricky conditions. 2.7 miles over an 18-minute race. This one is going to be very, very difficult indeed. They are back out on the slick tyres. It is incredibly different than the race we had earlier on, where it was just around 10 degrees track temperature. It is up to 18 degrees track temperature. It is beautiful, it is sunny. Finn Harrison has also, I believe, made his way out and onto the grid as well, so that is great to see. Who is going to take victory then in the final race of the weekend? I mean, what a front row it is, you know, to see Marcus Luzio up there. Of course, we said before about the privateer entry, just the Luzio family bringing that car to us. Can't wait to see what they're able to do. Maybe someone special is going to sneak a race victory. Are we going to have 3 different race winners from 3 different races? Of course, you know, to have a repeat, one of them would have to be Alicia Palmowski or Brandon McGlade. We'll have to wait and see on that one, because it has been a tough journey across the weekend in some very, very trying conditions. Obviously, Saturday completely different to what we had on Monday morning. We'll take a look at the starting grid, where we'll see Dan Hickey starting from the front of the field, Marcus Luzio starting from second position in that privateer entry on that front row of the grid. The rest of the positions that follow, we'll see Diran starting from third position, Megan Bruce starting from fourth. A couple of struggles for her this weekend, been a little bit anonymous, with Jack Taylor, who had a spin in the previous race at Hislop's, Chloe Grant on her return, again her return weekend to the GB4 Championship after competing in 2022. Leon Wilson in 7th position with Brandon Templeton in 8th on row 4. Then row 5, we've got Linus Granfors and Callum Baxter, who actually made up a lot of positions over in the previous race and really held himself very nicely indeed. Finn Harrison, who's had a very difficult weekend despite having the speed, crashed while setting purple first and purple second sector in the previous race, starts alongside Harry Burgoyne Jr., who has had 2 podiums in the previous 2 races. Speaking of 2 podiums in the previous 2 races, we've got Brandon McCarthy starting from 14th position, but ahead of her really, Alicia Palmowski starting from 13th, won the opening race of the season back on Saturday afternoon. Brandon McCacken this morning taking the victory. Obviously, I'm Linus McGlade, don't worry about that, but Piers Pryor has run his way from the assembly area back into the commentary booth, ready to talk us through this race. It's looking lovely out there, I'm not going to lie. No slides for McCacken going through that Hislop chicane this time.
Who'd have thought we'd have this wonderful weather when we had race 2 earlier on today, and it was 8.5 degrees. Absolutely throwing it down, puddles forming on the circuit. Even the GB3 race doesn't even feel that long ago, Lewis, and
really wasn't.
And now pretty much tidied up. I'm interested to see if there's any puddles lingering underneath the canopy and the shadow of these trees going into Druids.
Well, think of the size of the puddle that we saw there in the GB3 race when that safety car hit it. We'll try and keep our eye on it. It looks like it's all kind of cleared up.
Not quite.
Oh, there is a bit of a puddle there.
Yeah,
right.
Just a bit of a puddle on the left-hand side, just as you're trying to, open up the entry of Druids, and you can see there's still some damp patches and glistening in the sunlight just at the edges of the circuit, so the drivers are going to have to be extra careful if they're going for any audacious manoeuvres, because you touch that wet part of the circuit, you're going to end up with a locked tyre and potentially contact, which could end your race.
Now, how differently do you have to drive the track in these conditions versus fully dry?
Wait, these conditions right now? Well, it looks like the racing line is effectively completely dry, so the grip might not be quite at the level it was last time they drove it in the dry. Actually, looking at our pollster to Dan Hickey, he's moved too far forwards. Look at his front tyres, Lewis. He's rolled past the line. Hopefully someone on the pit wall can signal for him to just roll back a little bit, because otherwise a penalty could be coming his way, and his pole position start could be done before it's even got underway.
He's not rolling back, so I think that is probably going to be a slam dunk penalty, unfortunately, for Dan Hickey. There you go, Marshall already saying, jumping over to roll back slightly. Will this be a penalty?
No, because it's only actually when you start the race. So thankfully, from the goodwill of the marshals, Dan Hickey's been saved there. That's something you probably won't ever do again, I would imagine. But Dan starting on pole position, I know he was looking forward to this. Marcus Luzio on the outside of the front row. Let's go racing.
Yeah, final race of the weekend here at Easter weekend at Oulton Park. Marcus Luzio starting alongside that front row. Bit of a slower start from him. Dan Hickey getting a great start. Bit of a pinch there as Finn Harrison was trying to find his way through the middle in that distinctive yellow Elite Motorsports car in the background, and unfortunately it's going to drop backwards courtesy of it as they try and nestle their way through the first corner and disappear into the setting sun. We've got to move to the outside. Callum Baxter in that white number 44 Graham Brunton racing car. That's not Callum Baxter, that is Dean Areen trying to go for the race lead.
Yeah, Dean Areen putting the pressure on Hickey at the race start. And look how close they are, Lewis. We're pretty much nose to tail for the whole field. And is that too wide in the background? That is Linus Granfors going up the inside of Meg. I think that was... there's someone on the grass. Hopefully they can gather that up, because otherwise... Oh no, that is our race 2 winner.
Yeah, Brandon McCacken, and out wide, that's Linus Granfors who's gone around. I think Megan Bruce also came off in the foreground a bit with that as well. So a bit of chaos here in the GB4 Championship as there is a move there. That is Jack Taylor trying to fend off Harry Burgoyne Jr. Harry Burgoyne Jr. in the blue and grey car, and of course Jack Taylor in that the red and white car with the yellow highlights. Enormous lock-up from our race leader though, being of course the number 17 of Dan Hickey.
Yeah, Dan Hickey locked to the outside front tyre. Oh, and the number 50 going off. That is the red and white Vortec car of Taylor. He's gone too hot into the Hislop chicane and just run wide, and that's cost him time. This is bringing the field together as actually, I think that's Wilson looking at the back of... is that Wilson in the background? We'll keep an eye on the other position, moves to position, but it's a good start for our third place driver.
Chloe Grant yet to get a podium in the GB4 Championship, weirdly enough, as there is a bit of a look and a bit of a squeeze. Leon Wilson, you are absolutely right, that number 27 car, the lone Ardenist trying to make their move up. That is Megan Bruce in the middle of all of that. Safety car has been deployed, courtesy of the issue for Brandon McGlade. So we will be under safety car procedures. Hopefully they'll be able to extricate that car pretty quickly. But yeah, wow, some pretty aggressive movers and shakers in all of that, and I say pretty exciting race to keep an eye on.
Yeah, pretty close first race. Of course, the reverse grid always brings some excellent driving and some excellent action for us to commentate on and you to watch on the live broadcast at home. With the slower drivers in qualifying being at the front and the faster drivers from qualifying being at the rear of the field, it brings the whole pack closer together, and it's another really good thing that I think the GB4 Championship does, as well as GB3, is those reverse grids, because you know, if you're moving up the ladder, you need to be able to overtake. Let's have a look at the start again, Lewis. I'll let you talk through it.
Yeah, so in the background, you can see Finn Harrison had a really good start. That yellow car in the background had a really good start, then got pinched with the number 16 of Linus Granfors. A little bit tricky. There was also one stalling in the background. That was Callum Baxter, who had stalled in the number 45 Graham Brunton racing car. That is the racing, and it being held by Dan Hickey in the number 17 white and red machine with the 44 of Dinarine behind. This is some big side-by-side. Try and talk me through what happened here.
Well, Linus Granfors on the inside of Ireland and managed to make that move stick. Then we see, there we go, McGlade just gets a bit of front aero wash, and actually that was the number 9 of Megan Bruce clattering into the side of Granfors. Granfors tried to go around the outside, on the left-hand side, the high side of Shell Oils, and Bruce, unfortunately, either not given enough space or Bruce just understeered into the side of Linus Granfors. But Granfors is able to carry on. You can see him right at the back of the train there. He's in the red and white car, the number 16 with the yellow fluorescent helmet.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, that is a very distinctive bright. I was actually talking about this. I think we were talking about this yesterday, maybe, or Monday, Saturday. I know what day we are. It's fine. Don't worry. It's very confusing on an Easter weekend. That I love that helmet. It's so bright, so colourful, so vibrant. Now, obviously, we can see the field already trying to get some heat into their tyres. For some of the drivers, you know, they've got a lot of data to talk about car to car. Let's be honest, the Vortec team, they've got 3. KMR Sport have got 3. Marcus Luzio, though, in that 4th position in that sort of very metallic sort of blue. I don't really know. We've not found a word to describe it yet. I think it looks excellent.
Midnight blue, maybe?
I don't know. I just love it.
It looks really, really good. And it's also a really interesting story with Marcus Luzio. I mean, we heard about it in the pre-show. We really just I did an interview with him earlier on, and you know, them being realistically, they are a privateer entry, which is very, very cool. We had the Dylan Hodgkin racing group last year, which is a privateer entry. This year we've got Luzio.com, which sounds like a big professional conglomerate, but no, it's just Marcus and his dad and a couple of other guys that are helping out, and they're going racing and they're doing it pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, look, they're doing fine. They are holding their own in 4th position. Hopefully we'll be racing soon. We are getting word that McGlade's car has gone behind the barrier now. It will not be racing this time by, though. The safety car lights are still on, so we'll be going at least one more lap behind the safety car. But hopefully, with around 10 or so minutes left to go, we will be sent back racing to decide the victor in this one. I genuinely, this is the thing with GB4, much like what we've had last year and the year before. It's not quite the same as GB3, where even in these races we can kind of point and be like, yeah, that guy's probably the winner. In this, I've got no idea.
This is going to be a hard one to call. Chloe Grant's going to be hoping to consolidate her position in 3rd place and get her first GB4 podium. Or maybe she'll even push on forward to try and get Dinarine or Hickey. Hickey is new to the championship. I think he sampled with us one round last year, and it looks like the pace car, the safety car, has actually picked up the pace a little bit, so we are looking like we're going to try and get racing at the end of this lap. But yeah, then you've got Marcus Luzio in 4th place. He's pushing on, and then you've got Wilson in 5th place. Wilson was absolutely rapid in the wet conditions for the Arden by VRD team, and he's going to be looking to try and trying to copy that sort of pace that he had in the wet in the dry conditions, and if he does, You never know. But it is tricky to overtake around the Oulton Park International Circuit. We know that it's one of the best circuits for the drivers to show their skills in terms of raw pace and qualifying. But it also, in other ways, is quite tricky to overtake. So it doesn't often open up many opportunities for the drivers, being so narrow, technical, and fast.
You said about Dan Hickey. His results. He did one round last year. It was right at the end of the year. It was that final round at Donington Park. Retired 10th. His results, i.e. not great, but you kind of expect that in the one-off appearance. You never really know, so what a turnaround it is to see him at the front of the field again. Obviously the reverse grid, but one thing that we noted in qualifying, the pace of the field is so much closer that I think the reverse grid, if you are at the front of the reverse grid, it's not as if you're just there out of luck. You can hold your own in that scenario. You're not just going to drop through the field. Yeah,
we've had everyone this weekend within 103% of the fastest lap time, which is the cut-off for allowing you to take the reverse grid pole, and everyone managed that, which is great to see. The championship getting more and more competitive with every season, this being the third season in its current iteration. So it's just great to see everyone pushing on and giving themselves an opportunity, and Dan Hickey's trying to do that, as it looks like the safety car lights have gone out. So safety car in this lap. We are going to go racing once more. Lewis, I want you to put your money where your mouth is. Who's going to win this race?
The fans. No, I think Dan Hickey will, actually.
You know what? If Dan Hickey can go mistake-free, as he almost completely has so far, only that one small lock-up, then it's going to be hard for Dia Noreen to go past. And here he goes. That's a great initial getaway from the safety car restart. And
Dan Hickey then will lead us away. 10 minutes left to go in the final race of GB4 this weekend. Expected to have 6 laps from this point. So count them away. Dan Hickey leads in that red and white car. The 44 of Dia Noreen behind. Look at some battling behind all this. There's a 27 of Wilson defending from Burgoyne Jr. But behind that, the bright yellow car. That one is Finn Harrison trying to get past Megan Bruce. Try and keep up with all this because it's going to be fast and frantic racing. That is Pawlowski trying to get to the inside.
Pawlowski nearly making a move there at the inside, not quite getting it done, but it looks like she's managed to get an overlap. Pawlowski in the bright yellow number 21 car that we're looking at right now. She's going to be pushing hard. Can she get alongside Burgoyne, or a small lock-up from her? No, not this time.
No, indeed. Now she has to deal with her teammate, the yellow 21 of Pawlowski. There's a flag there that I saw with some red and yellow lines in there. What does that mean?
That is the... I can't remember its exact name.
Slippery surface.
Well, it's not always slippery surface. It can be debris on circuit, and we've seen there's some mud on the circuit on the inside of Shell Oil's hairpin. So it's just to let the drivers know that the circuit may not be in the condition they found it last lap. Dia Noreen applying the pressure hard to Hickey at the front of the field. Dia Noreen racing for the Graham Brunton Racing Team is going the inside. That's not going to work, and that's going to allow our third place driver Grant to try and get through on both of them.
Let's see what they're going to do and how close they're going to be up the hill. It's very close. There is Chloe Grant to the left hand side of your shot, the 66, the grey and blue car. Chloe Grant trying to get past Dia Noreen, coming up towards Druids, and Grant is going to complete the move up to second position. Her personal best result prior to this was 4th place at Brands Hatch in race 2 in 2022. It's been a long time since we've seen her in the GB4 Championship. There's an enormous lock up from Dan Hickey. He's gone straight on. Will he hang on to the race lead?
No, he will not, and that's Chloe Grant going from 3rd place to 1st place in as many corners, and she's still got the inside line, so Hickey's going to try and hold it around the outside. I don't think he's going to be able to do that. Chloe Grant leads.
Yeah, you said if he runs mistake-free. He is not running mistake-free. Welcome to this kind of pack racing. My goodness. I think there was Harry Burgoyne Jr. potentially squeezing out one of the elite motorsports car. Harry Burgoyne Jr. in the grey and blue. That was Pawlowski that is just squeezed out. This, the 16, working their way back into it, is Granfors, who's gone out wide. God, try and keep you up to date with this race.
This is going to be hard to follow, Lewis. We'll do our best to keep everyone at home updated. It's now the pressure being applied still by Pawlowski on the back of Burgoyne. Pawlowski in the yellow car, Burgoyne. Oh, and that's the number 27 going inside of Wilson.
Wilson trying
and
to
wide.
Make the move.
Oh no! Oh, is that Harrison? That's Finn Harrison. Again, the number 38. It is. He's done.
Yeah, he's not moving anywhere. Oh my goodness, Dia Noreen has lost that front wing. That 44, the bright white car, losing the front wing as well. There is Chloe Grant coming through the foreground of shot in the 66, the 17 of Hickey, and then the 44 with another massive lock up there from Hickey, and he's had to go straight on. He is dropping right the way down the order.
Yeah, he must have his brake bars far too far forward. Oh, and that's number 27 going off as well. That is Wilson. He's gone straight on, gone on the grass. Wilson racing for the VRD team by Arden, and Wow, this has been an action-packed race. It's Dianarine still finds himself in second place despite the front wing damage in that white number 44.
Yeah, and this has allowed Chloe Grant to run away, setting a purple middle sector in the race. Chloe Grant is running away, 6 minutes and 40 seconds left to go. Will be 4 laps rather after this point. Dianarine defending to the inside, straight around the outside the 68. That is Harry Burgoyne Jr. straight around the outside to make it another KMR Sport 1-2.
Nice, that was a great move from Burgoyne. Forced Dianarine to defend on the slightly wetter part of the circuit. Burgoyne broke on the racing line nice and late, pinched down at the apex to give Dianarine no space, and now Parmoski is making her way through with a good exit out of turn 1. They're going to go side by side into Cascades. Can Dianarine hold the inside line? He's got half a front wing, so he's contact. That's going to be a big off for both of them. That was, I would say, that's clumsy from Dianarine, I think, unfortunately. Parmoski was entitled to some space there.
Yeah, and they're both going to get stuck out there. It's too wet. They're on slick tyres. I wonder if Finn Harrison's gone moving. He definitely hasn't, because there's double waved yellows. I would not be surprised if this becomes a safety car with 3 cars stationary on the race circuit, and that will almost certainly end the race. The marshals will not have enough time in 5 minutes and 40 seconds to clear all 3 cars, but of course the race control want to end this under green, but it's such a dangerous corner at Cascade with that runoff.
Yeah, it's so boggy out there. I mean, I know from walking around. As Chloe Grant nearly goes too deep into the Hislop chicane, but I know from walking around on the grass around the circuit, it is saturated around here, and especially down at the dip at the bottom of Cascades, where both Parmoski and Dianarine went off. There's nowhere those cars are being retrieved quickly, and it's gonna take some sort of JCB or similar to remove those cars, at which point we need to neutralise the race. But you never know, we may go under double waved yellows if those cars just are left there.
So I'm going to say it. I think that's a bit risky to have this under double waved yellows going into that, especially in it's fairly tricky conditions. But obviously the race control know exactly what they're doing, so we'll have to wait and see what the call is going to be. Harry Burgoyne Jr. then in the second car in shot, having to defend now from the charge of Granfors, who sent it to the inside. That's 16, the red and white car of Linus Granfors, brother of Yoel Granfors, now up into second position in the race.
What a move up the inside of turn 1. That was decisive. Threw it to the inside, got it stopped, got out of the corner, and taking it to our only second-year driver from last season. He's only got 1 driver ahead of him, who was a driver from the season before.
Obviously now they're back into green flag racing. Fastest lap coming in from Brandon Templeton in 5th spot. That is the car behind this, the Fox Motorsport white, orange and blue car behind all of this, trying to work their way back into the fight. They're under double waved yellows now. It goes back to green flag racing as we head through the Britain chicane, and it is Chloe Grant leading, but I want to see what the gap's going to be. We'll update you once the lap's completed, but Granfors are going very quick, aren't they?
Yeah, on that last lap, Granfors was 1.6 seconds faster than Grant. If he can continue that level of pace, we are going to have a fight for the lead.
Yeah, Granfors is not. Grant is not out of this, out of the woods just yet. It's going to have to do a lot of defending. The current order sees Chloe Grant in the lead of the race, then Granfors, then Burgoyne Jr., then Baxter, then Templeton. Your top 5. 3 minutes and 20 seconds left to go. That will equate to 2 further laps of racing around here. Who is going to come out on top in the final race of the weekend? Can it be Chloe Grant, or will it be any of the other top 5? It's going to be very close. There is Leon Wilson in that number 27 car, with Megan Bruce in the number 9 on the outside of the corner. Megan Bruce in that white, blue and red car going a little bit slow off the final corner, and Leon Wilson might get this one.
Yeah, all touch of wheels there as Leon Wilson still at the inside. Megan Bruce trying to intimidate Leon off the road, but not making that defensive manoeuvre stick. It's still a yellow flag going into Cascade, so she won't be able to make a move back for that position there. The gap at the front is definitely coming down. That last lap, 1 minute, a fast lap of the race from Granfors in second place, 1:39.443.
Yeah, of course. So again, lead of the race, that is Chloe Grant. Then it is Linus Granfors in second position. Linus Granfors closing in as quick as he can. This is going to be a very impressive battle. You can see at the bottom, the battle box at the bottom of your screen, and you can see 2.3 seconds separates the top 5. We are going to have quite the climax here at Oulton Park, and how fitting it is.
Oh, it's going to be great. I'm looking for a last lap or last couple of lap battle. That's what we want in the GB4 GB4 Championship. We love the close racing, and Linus Granfors, we've seen him get past Harry Burgoyne Jr. and we've seen him move up to the field. He had great pace in race 2. Now he's on the back of the race lead. He can taste victory. Nearly. He's only got one car to get past. Chloe Grant is going to defend for her life, though, because this would be her first win in the GB4 Championship.
I mean, it would be her first podium if she can hang on. Her highest finish result was a fourth place finish, I said, last year in 2022, and she's going to be desperate to hang on for the race lead. Linus Granfors is going to go for it. We've seen Joel Granfors back in 2022 take 2 victories in the GB3 Championship. Let's see what Linus can do. Gets to the inside in that number 16 car, left-hand side of your shot. Linus Granfors going for the race lead on Chloe Grant and taking the race lead down into Oulton in the first corner. Fantastic move from Linus Granfors, and I think he's about to check out.
Yeah, I think Linus Granfors is going to pull away, but who is the fastest person on circuit? That is our 4th place driver, Callum Baxter, for the Graham Brunton Racing Team. He's that white and blue car, 4th in the train.
Who I'm pretty sure stalled on the grid. Obviously caught up with the safety car. So again, that is very, very impressive from Callum Baxter. Out wide, Chloe Grant went a little bit there into the island corner. That's the 2nd car in shot. Lock up there from the 3rd car in shot. That's the 68 of Harry Burgoyne Jr., the grey and blue car. A bit of a front right lock up into Shell Oils. This is the last lap of the race, though.
Yeah, it's going to be a fight for the final podium positions here. Will we see a move between teammates, between Burgoyne in 3rd, who's the number 60, and Grant in 2nd, who's the number 66 with the Saltire helmet there. Granfors is pulling away, but also Callum Baxter fancies a piece of this.
This is going to be very tight. Let's see who's going to make any moves, who is brave. Remember, if you go offline now, it is wet out there. It's going to be slippery. It's going to be difficult to get the car stopped. We've seen a lot of lockups in this race. The timer is ticking down, and we will see the conclusion. Again, it is Linus Granfors leading the way. Chloe Grant in 2nd position. Harry Burgoyne Jr., her teammate, who has 2 podiums this round already, a 2nd place and a 2nd place, is looking for 3 consecutive 2nd places to open out the season. Chloe Grant is going to defend from her teammate in that battle for 2nd position, going out wide, going through the final corner, going down Lodge, up Deer Leap. Here comes Linus Granfors across the line to take a first victory in the GB4 Championship. Incredible drive, an excellent move on Chloe Grant on the last lap at T1.
Yeah, a great move for the lead. He deserved that victory. Was probably the fastest on circuit, although he didn't actually get the fastest lap. That goes to Leon Wilson in 6th place, but he was the fastest driver coming through the field. Great manoeuvres. He could be emulating his brother Joel, who is imperious and managed just to miss out on the championship a couple of years ago. But Chloe Grant will be over the moon with a 2nd place. She'll probably be disappointed. We'll hear from her shortly by Chris McCarthy, because she would have wanted the win, but her first podium, she's back in the championship. And then Harry Burgoyne Jr. It's been a good weekend for Harry. Very, very consistent. 3 podiums, unless I'm mistaken.
Yes, indeed. It was 3 from 3 for Harry Burgoyne Jr. I will update you when we do the podium about the championship standings. Again, very provisional, must be said. You're absolutely right. Joel Granfors did compete for the 2022 championship. Of course, this is the older brother of Linus Granfors, who we're looking at here. Finished, 56.5 points clear behind Luke Browning. Was definitely battling for the championship up until the final round. It was an exciting championship, and I get the feeling his younger brother in Linus Granfors might try and do something very similar, if not go 1 step higher than his big brother.
This is going to be a good championship battle. It's shaping up for a nice, close championship fight that I hope goes to the wire, because that's what we want to see. We want to see close racing. We mentioned the grid's closer than ever in GB4. Everyone within 103% in qualifying, and it's only going to get closer as the season goes on, as a lot of these lesser experienced drivers who are doing their first season in either slicks and wings or in car racing will get more and more used to it, and we'll see some multiple winners throughout the year, I reckon. But Linus Granfors will be very happy with that, and the Fortec Motorsport team will be happy to be back on the top step once again.
Very disappointing though for Palmovsky, basically a retirement from this race, obviously with that incident with Dia Noreen. I mean, yeah, I know she was getting very aggressive going around the outside, but very disappointing for her. Obviously was battling in the for the championship lead. Let's not talk about championship too early, but still it is a prevalent point. And they'll all climb out of their cars, and I think it's been an exhausting weekend considering the tricky conditions they've dealt with.
Yeah, exhausting, but it's not so exhausting when you win a race. As you can see, Linus Granfors jumping out of the car. He's giving it, the the one finger for the first place. So good to see that every race we've seen, all the drivers congratulating each other. I'm interested to see what Chloe Grant's going to. Yeah, so she's happy with that. There you go. I was wondering if she was going to be disappointed or happy, but she seems pretty happy with the podium, and we'll catch up with her very, very shortly with Chris McCarthy.
And Tom Mills obviously going over there giving her a hug. Now those two have raced against each other. They did race in the 2022 season, that very first season of the GB4 Championship. So there is that kind of battle. Whilst Tom Mills is more coaching a little bit this season. Obviously, you kind of want some coaching from the champion of the previous season. Harry Burgoyne Jr. straight over to have a little bit of a chat with some fans. We'll put them that way. But either way, what a weekend it's been for Harry Burgoyne Jr. Didn't have a podium last season at all. Has 3 to start out the season here.
Consistency is what wins you championships. Harry Burgoyne Jr. is going to be up there at the end of the season. Will he win? I'm not sure yet. It's going to be close, that's for sure. And my pick for the championship was Parmowski, and she's out of this one. She was, I think, again, we haven't got the luxury of onboards in the commentary box, but I think she was taken out by Deanna Reens, so she'll be disappointed with that. But hey, that's racing.
3 excellent drivers then, Linus Granfors, Chloe Grant, Harry Burgoyne Jr. Let's send it down to Chris McCarthy to catch up with the 3 of them.
Thank you very much, Lewis and Piers. What a race to end the weekend. Linus Granfors just celebrating with his team there. We're going to get him in for some reflection now on that race. What is his first win in the GB4 Championship? 3 new winners to the championship. 3 winners from 3 different teams as well. Linus Granfors from Vortec, Alicia Parmowski from the Elite Motorsport team, Brandon McCacken from the Kevin Mills Racing team as well. Linus, let's jump in and let's get you in front of your car as well. Coming up from 9th on the grid to win that one. You had to fight very hard for it as well. First of all, tell us how it feels to call yourself a winner in the GB4 Championship.
Yeah, it was a difficult race, but I'm super happy to take my first victory here at Oulton Park.
Very special as well. Tell us about the move you pulled off in the end as well to execute that race victory. You had to pull off some fantastic moves to do it, but talk us through the winning move in the end.
Yeah, I spun on the first lap, so I was lost on the grid. So then when it was a safety car and it was a restart, I think I took 3 places in the first corner. So then I thought like, yeah, maybe P5. So, but then they didn't pass the one that was leading, so it was blocking the field. So yeah, then I was just catching up, and then I was behind everybody. So they was just trying to do some good overtakes, and yeah, then I did last overtakes when I think was a few minutes left, and then yeah, went first over the line.
And we saw you celebrating with your team there, but of course you're from a racing family as well, Linus. Just stay there for a sec. Your brother, of course, raced within GB3 as well. How special does it feel to be following in his footsteps now, because he's done very well in these championships before?
Yeah, I've been here 2 years already with Vortec when my brother was driving, so yeah, like the tracks I've been there before and I've been with the team, but never raced here, so yeah, it feels incredible.
Excited for the next round now?
Yeah, super excited.
Congratulations, we'll let you go and celebrate with the Vortec team. Congratulations, Linus, well done. Let's speak to Chloe Grant next. Wow, first podium for Chloe Grant. I'm just going to come round the other side here. Chloe, wow, your first podium in GB4. You had to work really hard for that one. How does it feel to be a podium finisher in GB4?
I cried the whole in lap and I'm still crying now. Yeah, it's just so many emotions. I was quite obviously annoyed when I lost my win, but Granfors is so quick. I've still obviously got work to do with not many days in the car, but I think this is a really good way to end the weekend and go into Silverstone confident.
And on that final lap as well, I mean, you had to really defend. I know you said you're a little bit frustrated with Linus there, but you're having to hold up some pretty big competition there in Harry Burgoyne Jr., someone who did very well in this series last year. Talk us a little bit through that last lap and how tough it was to defend your position.
Yeah, I mean, when I saw on the board 5 minutes ago, I could guess how many laps there was, and I was right, about 3 I think it was. So I knew that it was the last lap, and I just had to defend for my life to secure the P2, because P3 is obviously still not what I want. It still wouldn't be good enough. Obviously P2 is better. So yeah, it's just, I'm just so happy, and hopefully we can have more podiums at Silverstone the rest of the season.
Well, you've been on a tough journey on the track and off the track as well. You've put in a lot of hard work, not just through testing, but off the track as well. I know you've worked very hard to make this happen. Tell us a little bit about now how it feels to be rewarded with a podium.
Yeah, I mean, I was slowly kind of having more of a negative mindset, because I mean, I'm one of the drivers who wasn't born with the talent. I've had to work my behind so hard off for it. Yeah, I've never been working harder than I currently am. Yeah, it's just, it feels so much more worth it now, and yeah, I'm so happy.
Who would you like to thank as well? Because I know there's a lot of people that have helped you to come back from the things you've had to come back from in the last 12 months as well.
Obviously, thank you to my team, KMR Sport. They give me the quick car on the track, and I just need to optimise it a bit more now. And huge thank you to all of my sponsors, Luzio Racing, John Clark Motor Group, Specsavers. They're the ones who make this possible. That's the reason I get to come racing, because of them, and I'm so grateful to them for it. And thank you to my family, and I'm sorry, Dad, I left you at home. I love you dearly, and I wish you were here now. But yeah, Lucy's over there in tears, so, and just, yeah, my family wouldn't be able to do it without them, so just thank you to everyone who's on my team.
First of many, I'm sure. Congratulations, Chloe Grant. Well done. It's fantastic to have you in GB4 once again. Well done. Well done. Very special moment to Chloe Grant. I'm sure all the team are over there. You can see just over in the background, everyone celebrating. Well, we can't get enough of speaking to this man, Harry Burgoyne Jr. Congratulations, sir. Running out of things to ask you. We speak to you once again. We'll just flip you around, come around a little bit so we can see your car. That's better. Well done, once again, on the podium. Great race out there, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it was a very exciting race. So much going on, a lot of carnage there, a lot of crashes. But yeah, other than that, I think we drove a really good race there.
And tell us about some of the moves. I mean, coming up from P12, you had to make quite a few of them to get this podium.
Yeah, I mean, we got quite a few at the starting. We got about 3 at the start by the first corner, and then by that we were just picking them off one by one. And then I managed to get into second, but the car just didn't have the pace. We had a bit of a nose push, but as what it is at the end of the day, we still came third. It's still good points for the championship.
Let's talk about the round overall. This is the last race of the first round. You must be really happy with the points you've got on the board overall. You're pretty much the only driver we've seen in here every race this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, it's been really good points this weekend. Overall, the whole weekend's been really good for me. I mean, if it wasn't for KMR, I don't think I would have been able to do it.
Looking ahead now, excited for the next round? We move on to Silverstone?
Yeah, really excited for Silverstone in the next round.
Congratulations, Harry Burgoyne Jr. Well done. Well done. Well, there we go. 3 different winners from 3 different teams. We had Alicia Palmowski win from Elite Motorsport, Brandon McCacken win from Kevin Mills Racing, but that car in the middle, Linus Granfors, wins for the Fortec team. Let's go back up then to our commentators, Lewis McGlade, to reflect on what was a fantastic final 3rd race to conclude round 1 of the season.
Cheers, Chris. As we'll jump straight into highlights from round 3 of the GB4 Championship, partnered by the BRDC. Staller in the background being Callum Baxter, and a bit of a great start in the middle of the shot from the number 38 of Finn Harrison. Was unable to really go anywhere with it, and the race lead down into the first corner would be that of Dan Hickey's. Was feeling the pressure though from the number 44 of Dan Oreen, but unfortunately that gap would start to grow. Bit of a moment though for McCacken, going out wide, just kind of basically by himself, trying to sneak it around the outside, going into the island corner, and then there was contact between Megan Bruce and Granfors. Granfors, though, was definitely not out of the race. The safety car would come out to rescue McCacken's car. We would go back racing again as Leon Wilson was trying to fend off. A big lock-up, though, for Dan Hickey, who would go straight on, opening the door for Chloe Grant, sneak her way through and take over the race lead, where she'd start to check out quite a big gap. Out wide, unfortunately, a couple of drivers would go, including Finn Harrison, who would be off into the barrier and retire from the race. There'd be contact from the front end of Dean Oreen's car, where there was no front wing, basically on the left-hand side, contact between themselves and of course Palmowski, that would send them both off and into the grass. Dan Hickey would make a move for the race lead though on Chloe Grant, down the inside into the first corner on the final lap of the race to come across the line and take victory ahead of Chloe Grant and Harry Burgoyne Jr. once again, very, very impressive there. A drive there from Linus Granfors, considering he was off, basically stationary, stuck on the racetrack, got back going again, and was able to come through the order and to take a victory. Probably one of, if not the most impressive drive that we've seen in GB4 thus far. Very, very, very impressive from Linus Granfors. Time to perfection, maybe got a little bit lucky with the safety car. Fair enough, each their own. A 7th place in race 1, a 5th place in race 2. Potentially you could classify that as flying a little bit under the radar, but then came through to take victory. Harry Burgoyne Jr. though, 2nd place, 3rd place for him. An excellent performance from Harry Burgoyne Jr. Will be joined on the teammate, but on the podium by their teammate Chloe Grant on their return to the GB4 Championship. 8th, 12th and 2nd place in the final race before we get to see jumping onto the top step of the podium the Fortec team once more, this time in the hands of Linus Granfors, and how impressive that is. The championship standings though, that man on the right will be your championship leader. Shockingly enough though, the man in the middle now jumps up to 2nd position, provisionally of course, in the championship, 20 points behind. Harry Burgoyne Jr. on 82 points, Linus Granfors on 62 by my math. Never trust to commentate his math though. Brandon McCacken will be in 3rd position in the championship on 59, with Brandon Templeton in a 4th position on 57, of course, after that excellent podium in race 2. Great to see though Linus Granfors on the top step of the podium. Great to see, of course, the Fortec team, who have great pedigree in the GB4 Championship, especially with that championship victory back in 2022 with Nick Taylor. The Sunoco Fastest Lap of the Weekend award goes to Harry Burgoyne Jr., who probably would have set that one back on Saturday in the much better conditions. They'll all huddle up onto the top step of the podium, and Harry Burgoyne Jr. is kind of running out of hands there. He's got an extra cap, he's got an extra box, and of course a 3rd trophy this weekend. We'll take a look at the results though. Again, very, very provisional, so let's just put that caveat down for you, and we'll take a look at results from the final race of the weekend. Linus Granfors taking the victory by 1.2 seconds over Chloe Grant. Harry Burgoyne Jr. In 3rd position, with Baxter in 4th, then Templeton in 5th position. Wilson had some really good pace in all of that in 6th spot, then Bruce, then Taylor, Marcus Luzio dropping down the order a little bit. It's a bit of a shame there. Dan Hickey down in 10th position after a struggle with the brakes, I'll put it that way, in the race. Dion Areen in that contact with Palmovsky that sent them off going down into turn 2 at Cascades. Finn Harrison getting sent off and into the barrier, has had an awful weekend despite having a very, very quick car. McCacken, the first retirement from that race after issues early on lap 1, sending him off into on the exit of the island bend. Big shame after what was an excellent victory in the previous race from McCacken. I'm sure we'll see a lot more pace as the season goes on, and hopefully again, he is looking for a bit more budget. Hopefully he does get that budget on board, and we're able to see him battle his way through the whole season, because Brandon McCacken is definitely a driver that can contend for this championship. Despite a retirement, still finds himself 23 points behind Harry Burgoyne Jr. We'll head down though into the paddock area where Piers Pryor is catching up with Megan Bruce.
We're down here grabbing a bit of reaction from the drivers, and why don't we start with Megan. Megan, you had a busy race. I was chatting to you guys all off camera a moment ago, and it was Brandon said it was like a kart race all over again. Very, very close. Talk to us about the race from your perspective.
It was a pretty shocking start, to be fair. It was slightly disappointing, so I just had to make sure that everything else went all right. There was a safety car straight away, so we got back bundled up together, and then I just had to try climb back up the field from there, really, because after the start it's kind of a bit disappointing, but yeah, try and make it back up.
You tried to make it back up and you got stuck in. I saw a little bit of contact between you and Linus up at Shell Oils. Spun Linus around, but it didn't seem to hold him back because he went on to win the race. But, you know, talk to us about that. It seemed like there was a bit of mud on the inside of Shell Oils.
Yeah, I think there was just mud where the racing line is. We kind of came through islands side by side, and then I saw a gap on the inside. Went for that. I haven't seen the footage back yet, so I have to go watch. But hopefully, yeah, it's all right.
And then looking ahead to Silverstone Grand Prix, have you had a chance to drive these cars there yet?
Yeah, I've had a few test days there in wet and dry, so hopefully it will be a good weekend.
Hopefully so. Megan, thank you so much for chatting to us. Good. I hope you enjoyed your first weekend in the GB4 Championship. That was a nod. So yeah, it was a good weekend of racing for MacN. She's getting used to driving these cars. Hopefully we can grab a word with her teammate, Brandon Templeton. Brandon, come on in. Brandon, very, very good pace in that race. Let's touch on the race before we get on the pace. The race itself was pretty crazy. What was it like for you?
It was just crazy. I had to avoid an incident at the start. I got dropped down to the very bottom of the grid, so yeah, I had to work my way up, but luckily cars were going off left, right and centre, so no, it was carnage.
But your pace, especially towards the middle and end of the race, I think you had some purple sectors in there. I don't know if you actually ended up with fastest lap because I was concentrating on other things, but the pace was really, really good, and I suppose that's what you guys were looking for this weekend, was probably just to build up and try and get towards that front-running pace at this early stage in the season.
Yeah, that's the main thing. We've closed the gap and we're just consistently, continually learning, so that's the main thing really, and just shortening the gap each time and learning as much as possible.
You happy with your first weekend in the GB4 Championship?
Couldn't have gone better. I've got a 5th place, a 3rd place and another 5th, so yeah, couldn't ask for more. 3
top 5s is a great place to be at the first round, I'm sure, and yeah, the Fox Motorsport team helping you out a lot, I would imagine as well.
Yeah, the team have been great, really welcoming from the start, and they provided me a great car. So.
And then, looking ahead to the rest of the season, what can you do?
Just try as hard as possible and hopefully pick up a few trophies along the way, and yeah, see how we go.
Well, you've already got one on the mantelpiece from this round, so congratulations, Brandon. We'll see you back at the next round. So thanks for chatting to us, Brandon. Of course, getting some very, very fast lap times in the end there. 3 top 5s is a good start to his season. Why don't we bring in a Graham Brunton racing driver all the way from Canada, Callum Baxter. Callum, talk to us about your race. That was a bit crazy, wasn't it?
It was crazy. Unfortunately, I stalled on the start, so that was kind of the low point of the race. But fortunately, I was with the safety car, I was able to get right to the back of the grid, and kind of with all the craziness, I was able to pick up a few spots, and I think I ended up P4. So would have liked a couple more laps to have a shot for the podium, but I'm relatively happy with P4 after the start.
I was about to say, I bet once you stalled on the grid, you were like, oh, that's it, race over, and then lo and behold, carving your way through. Again, great pace. I think you had some purple sectors at different points of the race as well. Yeah, it must be encouraging that you can have a mistake like that and then come back from it, and it must be good for your confidence.
Definitely, yeah. Like you said, I was relatively discouraged after the start, but yeah, I was throughout the race, so I was really happy with my pace, and yeah, like I said, I just, wish there was a couple more laps added on, but it is what it is, and I'm looking forward to using that pace in the next race.
Absolutely, you're looking forward to that, and of course you're from Canada. Have you got anyone that you know is watching at home that you want to shout out down the lens?
All my family, the Skinners, my grandparents, anyone watching, I really appreciate you.
Brilliant. Well, Callum, we'll see you back at the next round. Well done on your first 3 races, first round of the GB4 Championship. Hope you enjoyed it at least.
Thank you.
Brilliant, Callum. Thanks very much. We'll see you then. Wow, so that was the final race of the season. It was pretty chaotic. Why don't we grab Chris McCarthy to come on in, and we can have a quick chat about that before we wrap up the show for today.
Yeah, what a race to end the first round of the season on. Absolutely fantastic. I think that I was watching up in the media centre. Let's just say there was a lot of noise out there, particularly towards the end of the race. Very, very entertaining race overall. We said this at the end of race 3 for GB3. 3 different winners from 3 different teams, and some new winners in the championship as well. I think it sets us up very nicely for a very competitive season, doesn't it? It shows that a lot of these teams can go out there and win. A lot of these drivers can as well, and we could have had a number of those drivers on the podium in that one.
Oh yeah, exactly. I mean, we just heard from it then in that race. I mean, Linus Granfors got spun around and was basically last. Callum Baxter stalled on the grid, and they end up 1st and 4th. I mean, that's crazy. And then the grid coming closer together. It's just been a great start to the season. Harry Burgoyne Jr., 3 podiums. He'll be very happy with that. Probably going to be out on. Well, actually, Lewis has already run you through the championships as it stands provisionally. So I think it's going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing how Alicia Pomorski bounces back, because I know she'll be disappointed after that incident that I don't think was her fault. Again, I haven't seen the onboards. There may have been other circumstances that I haven't seen, but we know how quick she can be. One race won, was quick in race 2, so it's going to be tasty. It's going to be a fight right to the final round, I hope.
Yeah, we had a driver spin and win. We had a driver on the podium 3 times. A great story, wasn't it, with Chloe Grant as well. Emotions really high down there. You could see how much that meant to her as well. After everything we spoke about in one of our pre-race shows, how much she's been through in the last year, and to see her fight back through all of that, come straight back in and get on the podium was a really nice story to end on.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's great to see Chloe back in the championship, but I think she would admit that she didn't envisage her doing GB4 and then coming back here. She's had a difficult time. She was in the F1 Academy, lost out for a number of different reasons, and to get her back in the championship podium in the first weekend, that'll do her confidence a world of good, and then maybe more and more podiums to come.
Let's quickly end by talking about the next round. We go to Silverstone next, GP circuit. Well, excited for that one. I think we've seen great racing round here. If they can race like that around this tight and narrow circuit, what can we expect at Silverstone GP circuit, Piers?
Well, a couple of years ago, Lewis and I keep remembering a race that happened where I think there was 4 or 5 different race leaders on one lap, and Tom Mills went from 1st to 4th back to 1st in a lap or something. Yeah. So crazy racing at Silverstone. Looking forward to more of the same this year.
I think that is a good advert to end on, and before we get ran over, I think we're going to close the show there. The 27th and 28th of April is when we will be back racing for the GB4 Championship. Thank you very much for your support of the Championship. Thank you very much from your company, from myself, Chris McCarthy, Piers Pryor, Lewis McGlade and Naomi Newman, from all of us at Oulton Park. For now, it's goodbye.